Hi and welcome. I'm John and this is Unique Wargaming Terrain. Guys, welcome back. For everyone that's new, this is the Monday painting video. Now what is the Monday painting video? What's it all about? Well, the Monday painting video, I paint a model up as voted on by you guys. So last week's Weekly Wednesday, which is a weekly Q&A, I show you guys a host of models and you guys vote on what you want me to paint for this Monday's painting video. So for everyone that's voted, thank you very much. And for all my regulars here, thank you very much for the love. I'll see you in a second. Right, so a few things are voted on, but we have a tie with 2 votes apiece for the Comtemptor Dreadnought, which is an amazing model. It's a pain in the hole to build, but it's an amazing model when it's built. And the Invader ATV. Now, usually at this stage, I would do a dice roll to see what's going to be painted. However, these are both Space Marines. And not only that, they're going to be the same colour scheme. I'm going to be using airbrush to paint either one of them. So I'm thinking to try and do a sneaky thing and paint both of them, because most of them are going to be airbrush and then I'm going to come in with the brush afterwards. So I'm going to get the airbrush set up, sort his base out because his base needs to be some still needs to drop across the gravel, and then I'm going to come back with the airbrush and just start airbrushing. Right, so as you just saw in the hyperlapse, the red one I'm fine, but the Screaming Skull, it's a bit shiny, it's a bit wet. It's too wet. Now, what is a malfunction on the airbrush? I know what happened. My own fault. Human error. I did the red when I cleaned the airbrush out, and instead of waiting for 20 minutes, half an hour, I just carried on, and there was too much water still inside the airbrush. I hadn't had a chance to drain out or dry out or anything. So when I'm trying to spray it on the first of all, it's spraying on too wet. You can clearly see it's still shiny. Yeah, it's not the end of the world, because I can easily go over the top of that with some Screaming Skull now and just sort that out. So I've got wet palette set up. I have Screaming Skull and Corn Red on there. The Corn Red, I don't do the airbrush, but like you see on top here, there's this white Screaming Skull speckles. I just need to tidy those up. A few bits over here as well. I've got some Retributor armor, some Lead Belcher. I've got some Steel Legion Drab for the sort of base. I can see the base has gone bandified. But I'm going to start with this guy and see the inside of the look. I'm going to come in with some Corn Red. I'm going to tidy all these bits up. Let's give them a quick once over. I tried to use the airbrush to save myself time, but I don't know, maybe it didn't quite work that way. I'm going to do the rest of this guy, then go back to this guy and do the bits on him, and then come back to you for the next colour. Right, so that's tidied up some degree. So now I'm going to come in with some Screaming Skull, and this is the bit I was trying to avoid. I wanted to try and get it done as smoothly as possible. I'm going to come in. Let's go in a pinky colour. Damn it. It's better. I'm going to come in and just try and, it's a wet brush, to try and really just tidy this up. It shouldn't be as hard as I'm thinking, just because of it's already had a blast from the airbrush, so it should be just nice and smooth to go on. thin coats to do it, hopefully. It might need a little touch up here and now, but nothing too difficult. So I'm going to go off camera and do the rest of this. You see where I'm just tidying it up. Hopefully it doesn't leave me streaky lines or anything. I'm going to go off camera to finish the rest of this up, and then I'll do the same on the ATV. Probably give it a second coat on each, and then just come back to you then. I should be ready to work away on it properly. That's where I wanted to be when I had the malfunction with the airbrush. Right, so I just actually turned the airbrush on and sprayed out any moisture that was left in the airbrush from cleaning it out. And then I put some Scream Skull and set it all up again, and went for a second blast of Scream Skull. Now, it's come out sort of okay. There are still patches. As you can see, there's still a few patches. Let's bring this light down so you can see what I'm talking about. There's still a few patches along here and there. They're not too great, but on the whole, it has sort of solved the problem a bit. Now, I didn't get the top part, as you can see, because I didn't want to get onto the red. But now I'm going to come in. What I'm going to do now is sort out the rest of the model, because this is one of those situations where if I keep going, it's going to get to a point where it's just ruined. So if I paint the rest of the model first, there's a strong chance that what I've done with the cream will look fine and they won't need to mess around with it. Or paint the rest of the model first so it's essentially done, then come back, say tomorrow, where I'm not on fumble fingers, and just give it a quick once over with the cream, and it make it pop even more. So now I'm going to come in some lead belcher. I'm going to sort out all of this weaponry and all of these bits and pieces. These little cogs and stuff I'm going to do as well, just to make them really stand out and pop off even more. This big ammo box. And his piping on his back, the power plant and the piping underneath, and all these little bits, and these bits. So I'm going to go off camera and do them, and then come back to you. Right, so I've done this guy with silver. Now I'm going to come in and get these guys with the lead belcher as well. But I'm going to be doing things like the bolters at the front, the volcanic, whatever this is called, I can't remember what this weapon's called, the bits on their backpacks, back of their legs, and do all those bits, and I'm going to come back to you then for the next bit. So as you can see, I've done all the gun and everything else. I'll show you the other guys when I come to do the colour on them. But I'm going to come with some Richie Bit armour now. I'm going to pick out this bit on his chest. And I'm actually going to pick out his helmet inside there, because he is a Comtemptor Dreadnought. So it's a little bit special. What else was I going to do? So no, that's it on him, I think. I'm not having a good time with it today, I'm afraid. He looks like. Now we come over to these guys. Let me give you a quick rinse around. Still on the bits there. Yeah, gun, a few bits and pieces. But now Retributor armour for the Aquila, of course. On the Space Marines themselves. last bit. To his backpack. So it just pops off. Leave that to dry for a few minutes. Then I'll come in with some other bits and pieces. So now I'm going to come in with some Agrax Earthshade. I'm going to whack it into the gold, just to try and just make it so it's not so bright and pick up some of the features on there. I'll do it on the Marines as well. The Imperial Quitter. Right, the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to come in with, I want a contrast paint. That's what I want. I want one that's going to really stand out. Now, my first inclination is Eldari Emerald, because I love that green. Such an amazing green. But I think I'm actually going to come in with some Talazar Blue. That's what I'm going to use. So I'm going to, what the hell is he doing contrast paint now? I'm going to paint this box, this ammo box, to give me a nice, to really make it pop off away from the rest of the model. With the silver underneath, it's really going to stand out. So I'm going to go off camera and do the rest of that. As you can see, I've got some Talazar Blue there, a little bit on the panel there. Now I've got some Black Legion contrast paint. I'm going to come in, I'm just going to do the tyres from above. These don't have to be absolutely fantastic, but just to get rid of some of the airbrushing of them. And the reason I'm not handling it is because it's going to look, if I handle it, it's going to look absolutely that it's been done that way. If I do it this way, it's going to give me some of the spray coming through still, make it look like it's worn tyres. I don't know if that makes any sense to anyone, but whenever you drive a vehicle and the tyres get worn, they're black tyres, but certain parts of it are just like a grey or a white, where you, depending on what type of road you're driving over. If you're driving over something that's like red on the ground, then there'll be bits of red into it as well, or bits of yellow or something, you know, stuff like that. That's what I want to have a look at. I want it to look like that. So it's just don't be wrong. I don't know if I've done it any justice. Definitely needs some more Screaming Skull along that side. The camera's not picking up, but I can tell you from my own personal looking at it, I need to get some more Screaming Skull on there. But I'm not going to do that now, because I want to come back to it with a fresh head and clear head. Same as this point in the middle here. I'm not too happy with that, but I don't want to be messing around with Screaming Skull after that little malfunction. So I'd rather just try and just hold off until I can have a clear head on it. But I'll get them mostly done today anyway. So now I'm going to come with some non-oil. I'm going to get the gun turrets. Get some of that silver detail back, or some of that detail back in from the silver. Get all these bits as well. So I go a little bit along the bolters, just to make them stand out a little bit more. See, this ATV is not the easiest model to paint. Not at all. Some people say, why don't you just paint it in parts? That's not how I paint the models. I'm going to get some non-oil into these silver parts here. There's only one last thing for me to do now, and that's I've got some Wazdaka red on the wet palette. So what I normally do, this is for everyone that's new, is I will take it to a point where it's battle ready, and then I will take it beyond battle ready standard. This could be a dry brush, could be edge highlight, could be, you know, anything like that, or wash down. Now I'm not doing it today because I'm not happy with the way the cream is, the Screaming Skull. Because I'm not happy with that, I'm not going to present you with, oh yeah, it's fantastic, and then we do this to tidy it up, and no. So with the Screaming Skull, I'm not entirely happy. You can see on the head there that it's not happy with that. It's close up, so I'm not happy with that. It needs another bit more Screaming Skull, but like watered down across the top. I need to make sure until it's fully dry, and I've got a clear head to do it, which will probably be tomorrow. Just come in and give it a quick once over. Same as this guy, top of his head, I'm not entirely happy with. So the rest of them seems to be okay-ish. Not the best, but it seems to be okay. But it's a head there. Let's see that bit there's just not 100% the way I want it. So I'll just come over another day and tomorrow probably. So with the Wazdaka red, for everyone that's new, I usually do it and I layer it in the middle and just have the edges of the darker side of it, of the corn red. But because it's the vehicle, what I like to do on vehicles is just actually come around and edge highlight around the sharpest edges, but only on vehicles now. So I'm going to do this. I'm going to go off camera and do it and come back and show you the end result. That's basically, look at the look that it gives you. Yeah, this is really, really nice look. And there we have it. These guys are done. Now, with the exception of me coming through with the Screaming Skull again, and I'll bring you down and show you some pretty pictures so you know what I'm talking about. I'm not 100% happy with the Screaming Skull. And that's because I didn't allow the airbrush to dry properly before I started using it again. And then it pushed out the water, there was more water in there should have been. So it watered the paint there too much. And then when I added more paint to the airbrush to try and rectify the problem, the area was already saturated. So when I was spraying it on, it's just spraying the consistency that I want onto a wet surface. So it wasn't able to do what I wanted to do. And that's my mistake. So, you know, make sure you guys just, when you're using the airbrushes, make sure it's dry enough to work. Now, as I said, I brought it back out here once I cleaned it out, connected it back up and just sprayed the air out of it. And that seemed grand. And I set up again and I gave another little blast of Screaming Skull, but it wasn't 100%. It was okay enough to take a little bit off, but not too great. But I need to come back with a brush and just tidy this up. I mean, it's not too bad. Yeah, it's not too bad. But what I might do is come back, because this is a big panel. I don't like the way this big panel is. I might come back with and use something like a Frozen Camo shade and just drop it into the little bits and pieces just to highlight them even more. And then when that's dry, come into the Screaming Skull and just tidy up here and there. That's something I might do. But anyway, thank you for watching. Thank you for voting. It's the most important thing for me. Everyone smash the thumbs up button. I know I cocked up with the airbrush, but just, you know, hit the thumbs up button, share this video with more and more people. Any comments or anything, chuck them below as always. Thank you all for watching. Thank you for voting. If you're not subscribed to the channel, guys, hit the subscribe button because it costs you absolutely nothing and helps the channel out in a massive, massive way. And turn your notifications on so you don't miss anything. I'm going to bring you down and show you some pretty pictures. Just don't worry too much about the, the screaming skull. It does look a bit here and there, but anyway, I'll show you my successes and my failures as well. But that's easy for a job to fix. Anyway, guys, until next time, thanks for watching. Take it easy.